The ask is $9 million to help 2 million women and girls affected by the economic crisis in Sri Lanka. That is the global appeal UNFPA is making for life-saving healthcare for women and girls in the next 6 months, whose protection systems are now being compromised. Currently, about 215,000 pregnant women, including 11,000 adolescent girls, about 145,000 women are due to deliver in the next 6 months, while 60,000 of them require surgical intervention. Plus, gender-based violence has also increased. With me today on Let's Talk is the representative of Sri Lanka and the country director for the Maldives of the UNFPA, Kunle Adeniyi. Kunle, welcome. Lovely to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me on this show. It's an absolute pleasure to join you today.
In your 2-decade experience, have you seen anything like this?
Very interesting question. The saying goes, there's nothing new under the sun, but also because countries, economies, the world structure changes from time to time, we would say that the world is going into a new normal, which is the fact that everything that happens in different parts of the world really has impacts and implication on other parts of the world. So I would say what's going on in Sri Lanka presents a new context of what we've seen before and what we expect to see in other places.
What impacts are we talking about, and in what socioeconomic segments?
We know that women often, hold roles and jobs that are not the highest paying, like a garment industry and what they do, but also because these jobs are often the first to get out of the way when people are cutting costs and doing so many things. Also, women also carry the often difficult, for the want of another word, job of being unpaid caregivers. So they manage the home, they're not paid, they're not recognized. Thirdly, we know that women also have the biological role of having children, which also gives them considerable vulnerabilities. For example, access to sexual and reproductive health in times of strife, like now that we might have difficulty in accessing medicine, fuel issues, limiting healthcare, and also the one that is also very difficult is we're speaking about gender-based violence, which will be on the increase in any time there's strife and tension in the nation. So the vulnerabilities of women are indeed exacerbated at this time from a socioeconomic angle, but from a deeply social and contextual angle as well. Yeah.
So you've identified the gaps, and how is UNFPA actually helping these women and girls?
In Sri Lanka now, we have about 215,000 pregnant women. About 145,000 will deliver in the next 6 months. 60,000 of those will require surgery. So UNFPA is really working with the government of Sri Lanka to ensure that there's continued and sustained access to labor room medications, all necessary drugs and medicine that will ensure that these 215,000 women deliver safely, as has been in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka holds the pride of place in the region and indeed in the world to very low rates of maternal deaths. We wonder and we worry that if we don't make this effort, we would have, the unenviable situation where we might find increases in maternal mortality. And we're working with government. We're so proud to say we're working with government to ensure that that stops. Even before the crisis, 1 in 4 women experience some form of violence. Oftentimes, the women bear the brunt of those from men and the society. So we're really working to ensure that shelters remain open. Many shelters have been struggling to keep up, because most of these shelters are run on voluntary basis, contribution. And when people are losing their means of income, it's difficult to support shelters. So we're really working to ensure that shelters remain viable. Girls and women spend so much of their income on menstrual health products. Or don't. Now, when they do not, they use negative and unhealthy and unsanitary coping mechanisms that really negatify their health. So what are we saying? It's important at this time to also look at the dignity of women and girls and to ensure that mental health products and access to necessary things to make them live in dignity.
What I'm seeing is like a needle in a haystack, but it's a step forward. And I'm so glad that the UNFPA is actually working on the challenges that women and girls face.
Thank you so much. It's important that what we do now affects tomorrow. And if we do not make the right investments in women and girls now, it will take very much longer to recover the negative impact, and the gains we have made so that we do not lose it. Thank you so much.
And if you like Kaleidoscope, please do follow and subscribe. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.